goes down right down to the bottom as well, because look, it's right all along here. So you can actually, you know, go take it right down almost to the edge of the riverbank. And I'm going to take it over that bit that I did before, which was sort of, what did I say it was? A grey brown. Now I'm going to take it down into the water as well, because when I come to do the water area, I will be overlaying blue over the top of it, so it'll change it slightly.
Okay.
So I'm actually going to take some of this down here as well. Now it's interesting, that bit there, isn't it? Because this is the same colour, but because it's going over that bluey grey wash underneath, it looks darker. That's just something to note. And for you, Chris, it's the same thing as again, really. Your first wash is going to be your light greens, and then you're going to take your mid greens over the top, but you're not going to obliterate every last bit of it. So just to remind you, if you wouldn't mind if I just show Chris something, with this painting here, whoops, of the garden, sorry, I'll have to move it across the picture.
Yeah.
I took that light green probably all the way down, and then I started the next tone, which is that mid green next.
Yes.
Went over the top of the light green with it, but left quite a lot of that original colour showing up.
Yes.
And then the third step obviously is the dark green.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Right, I'm just going to move that out of the way, because otherwise other people will get confused. Oh. Right, so are we ready for the next wash, everybody?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Okay, so the next wash, I would suggest doing, well, we can either do a sort of this here, yellow ochre, this one here. It's, well, it's a sort of mid-brown yellow ochre, and it does appear a bit over here as well. But I think if we get this put in over this area, then at least it'll keep it balanced and keep the composition going up at the same time. I also think he may have used this same colour initially in the trunks of the trees and some of the branches. And I think we could do that at the same time. So the next thing really is to mix a sort of a mid-tone brown, which is verging on yellow ochre. It's sort of a yellowy brown, I suppose, not too yellow. I'll mix it and then I'll show you what I've got, okay? Right. Okay, the colour I've mixed is this one. That one there. That's what I'm going to use. I think it possibly could have a bit more red in it. Let's just put a tiny bit more red in it.
So you used the yellow ochre, and did you use a brown or?
Yellow ochre and burnt sienna and a tiny, tiny bit of blue. There's the colour, look, that big splodgy there.
Okay.
So I think it could go a bit redder, so I'm actually going to put a bit more burnt sienna in it. You may have to spend 2 or 3 attempts to get the browns right. It's worth just looking. I think that's not bad. But I'm just going to leave it like that. So now going back to this next color that I've mixed up here for Shelley's benefit, it's the color that's this one here that peeks out on the edge of this clump of foliage on the left here and the bit in the middle. And I think I'm going to use it also to draw in some of these branches and the trunks of the trees. Okay, and the color I've got mixed is this one here, which I'm going to use. It's not exactly like, it's probably slightly more yellow than his, but I'm going to go with this color. I might put a bit more red into it, a tiny bit of red. I think that's what it needs, a bit of alizarin.
Okay, let's get alizarin red.
Okay.
Meow.
Let's see what this one looks like.
Is alizarin crimson the same thing as alizarin?
Yeah, but I don't know, I think it needs more blue in it. I'm going to put some more blue in. I'm going backwards and forwards. Eventually I'll get the colour I like. That's better, that one there. That's too brown now, it's a bit more red. Yeah, I don't know what you call it, but it's a brown, a mid-brown.
Thames River.
Yes, all right, that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to use this colour now to help me sort of put in some of the forms of the actual form of the tree underneath. So the trunks. I'm also going to use it in some of this foliage as well, because I think it's a good colour and it will work.
Are you using like a number 6 brush with a little pointy bit?
I'm using a number 9.
A number 9.
Well,
okay.
my brush is a very good brush, and therefore it will let me do very fine lines and big, thick strokes as well. But it does depend on what you've got.
I've got a 10.
Well, if it's got a good point on it, Shelley, that's fine.
Yes, it's got a very nice point.
Well, then you'll be all right. You see that brown, that colour looks all right, doesn't it? Don't you think?
Yes, yes.
It looks quite harmonious, I think. It's that bit there,
A bit grayer.
but it's going to have dark over the top. So
Okay, that's good. So done is Still wet.
So interesting. Already it's drying, and look how pale it is when it dries. And yet it looked tremendously dark when I put it down on the piece of paper.
Mhm.
And again, I take this colour down into the water. Remember, there's probably lots of grass and stuff at the water's edge. So, you know, make your brush strokes sort of tell you about what's going on there. Now, I don't know if you're noticing, but the actual trunk of the tree is broken up. You cannot see it as a continuous block of color. Do you know what I mean? It's broken up with the foliage going across it. So, and these little branches at the top are little flicks of color with your brush. You know, they're tiny. So just be careful that you make your brush give the right information, and also that you're aware of that, you know, what's happening. It's exactly the same as with the leaves in your on your wall of your patio, Chris.
Yeah.
You know, they're little flicks of colour, and there probably will be some sort of branches or something going on underneath all that foliage. So just
Yeah.
be conscious of it as you're painting. Don't just fill in.
Yes.
Okay. You have to be very observant about what's happening.
Mm.
Okay, and
Mm.
no watermarks. There shouldn't be any watery mark edges on it.
Mm.
It should look as though it's naturally happened on the page.
Amazing.
Okay, right, so put that one out the way. So this is how far we've got with this one. Right, well, we've got a good 20 minutes more, so shall we all just carry on, please? And I've reached a point now where I'm going to probably make a dark of the third tone. I'm going to get this color in, this dark, very dark one, and I will probably use a sponge a bit down here, just because it helps me to get it in fairly quickly. All right, but I'll show you as I do it. So first of all, I'm going to mix that really dark brown color. And I know I did that just with ultramarine and burnt sienna. I know I didn't use anything else when I did it the other day. So So less water when you want to get a stronger mix and more pigment. Again, I'm going to try out the colour on my paper here just to see what I've got. That's not bad.
That's the burnt sienna and ultra.
This was just burnt sienna and ultramarine.
Okay.
I might actually put a little bit of raw sienna in it, just a tiny bit, just because it's quite, I don't know, it just needs a bit of yellowing into it, I think. Not much, though. Yeah, that's better. You probably can't see the difference, but this has got a tiny touch of raw sienna in it. It's slightly more in keeping with the rest of the colours. So basically, burnt sienna, ultramarine, and a tiny touch of raw sienna. Or your warm yellow. If you haven't got raw sienna, you can use the gamboge. Now this has gone very dry, so let's see what happens when I use my sponge. I'm going to put this sponge in clean water and give it a squeeze. Oops. And then I'm going to dip it into the brown and see what happens. Too much. Oh, there we are. Oh, what's quite good about the sponge is it's not, you know, it leaves colour coming up through it, if you know what I mean.
Okay, my brown is blue. So we're going to put more burnt sienna. Okay, that's good.
Now, I don't know if you want to see, but see, I've got some colour on here and I want to soften the edge of it because what's underneath is dry. I'm just using a damp brush with just water on it. Yvonne, you might like to look at this.
Yeah. Yes, looking.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't end up with any sort of hard, unnatural edges. And it's a bit damp now because I put water everywhere, but that works quite nicely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you can just take your damp brush and just drag it.
Yes.
I'm using this brush that I'm using with the water on is slightly thinner than the other brush. It's not such a big brush. And actually, while I'm doing this water, I'm going to start introducing a bit of bluey colour on top of it. Look, can you see that? Putting a slight blue wash over the top of it.
Mm.
Um, Anybody else that wants to watch? Do you see that blue going over the top of the browns?
Oh
Mm.
wow, doesn't
Very,
that look
very
fantastic?
Very pale blue, but it works, doesn't it?
Mm.
Works brilliantly
Mm.
for the
So
idea of reflection.
Yeah.
is the pale blue a light mixture of the ultramarine and the?
Well, it's something that was on my palette. So it's actually ultramarine with a bit of something. It might be a bit of Prussian blue and as well. I think it's just a bit that was left on the palette, and I've just added water to it, and it's not strong, so it's just working nicely in the water area. I mean, I know he's made it quite warm and brown down here, but I think I can go back and put some more sienna over the top. Who's sighing?
Me.
Sue, could you zoom
Yes.
in a bit?
I beg your pardon?
Could you zoom in a bit?
Oh, that's out. No, I can't.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's fine.
It won't let me go in any closer unless I drop the camera down. That's going to not be very straightforward.
That's fine. Maybe just move the page down a bit.
That much?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Now, I think there's a warmer colour that's coming in here, which I haven't got. So I've got someone already mixed, and it's a burnt sienna colour. And I'm going to try that. Yeah, it needs a bit of this over it. I've actually now introduced a bit of Prussian blue into the brown to get this really dark brown at the bottom here.
Sue, could you move your painting up?
Up.
Yeah.
I think in the picture, as I've got it, looking straight ahead as we are, just where you put that dark streak of bluey green, I think that that is a branch in the river. I don't mean a tree branch, I mean a branching of the
Oh,
way.
yeah, yeah. You mean
So
it
I
goes
think the
in and
river
round.
stroke
Yeah.
canal branches to the left behind the boat, but I think it also branches to the right, sort of up, with the tree trunks on the left, and then the big black tree is on the right of the riverbank.
Yes.
I think that's the only way that makes sense of that. Absolutely, and it's extraordinary because actually it's a straight horizontal line.
Yes.
But he's managed to get it so that it really is a parting of the ways.
Yeah.
It's very, very clever. And I think it's just done by the way there's a kind of a water line
That comes round here. Yeah.
that starts just behind the front of the boat, goes down very slightly, and then goes up to the right.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't got that in mine yet. I will have to lift some of this out, I think.
I think it was better before you put in that brilliant bit of
Yeah, I
really
think it
good.
was too. Never mind, I can correct it. I hate to say it, girls, but it's 4 o'clock.
Right.
Never mind. Why should you have any free time? Why don't we just carry on for as long as we like?
Okay.
Why should you have a life?
Okay.
It depends on how tired you are, Sue, after all day's painting, really.